When people talk about the right wing and the left in American politics, it seems like those are the only two alternatives, and that they are the opposite of one another. On the right sits the Republican Party, on the left, the Democratic Party. If you're not paying attention, it's easy to presume that the two major parties are about as far left or right as it is possible or even acceptable to go. This helps create the illusion that there exists some sort of area in the center between the two parties where compromise can presumably be found. Both players are happy to pretend that that is the case. But the truth is there is a lot of unclaimed territory on the political spectrum. The two major parties also sit a lot closer to one another than you may realize. Where did we originally get this concept of left and right from anyway? In ancient times, a king always had a most trusted advisor who executed the will of the monarch. That person was said to sit at the right hand of the king, overseeing the leader's wishes as though that person was the royal appendage itself. This is why the Bible always talks about sitting at the right hand of God. A believer hopes to bring themselves so close to executing God's will that they deserve that place of honor. In Game of Thrones, various characters hold the title Hand of the King, wearing a special necklace made of interlocking hands, and basically governing in place of the kings who are too indifferent to handle the day-to-day mundane tasks of running a kingdom. To be on the right is to be as close to the source of power as it is possible to be. To be on the right is to be the most devoted supporters of the existing hierarchy of class power and the status quo. It's the right's job to preserve, reinforce, or even expand the power structure as it stands right now. Just as democracy and oligarchy exist on a spectrum, so too should our concept of left and right. The further right one goes, the fewer benefit. At the extreme end of the spectrum might be one person. A monarch, for example. In a monarchy, power and privilege accrue to a monarch, a singular personage. The further left one goes, the more power and privilege is diffused. Consider this graph, representing a nation's population. At one end, let's put a single person, the king. At the other end, we'll have 100% of the population, every last man, woman, and child. The further right you go on this chart, the fewer people's interests are served. The further left you go, the more people's interests are served. If this were a representation of the American population, the Republican Party would indeed be further to the right than the Democrats, but there would still be a whole lot of territory left to the left of where Democrats sit. Let's make them pay.